We go now here into the 3CX free SMB and hosted section. Now, what is 3CX free SMB? Most of you know that already now from version 18, when 3CX started to introduce 3CX free and SMB. It is a native cloud instance which is shared across multiple instances or tenants. So literally, when you create a 3CX free or SMB tenant, then you share the same 3CX like with a couple of hundred other tenants. As you can see from the amount of digits that you have with the 3CX free SMB, at the moment the extension numbers are 5 digits long, so you can calculate on how many extensions they can actually add onto such a system. And based on that, with, for example, SMB 20 users, you can calculate how many tenants they could create on such a system. Again, that all comes down to the size of the or the specification of the hardware it is running. It is fully managed by 3CX. There is no access to the backend. You can't access the shell. You can't the command line. Sorry, you can't access the backend of the system to do like snapshots and all that stuff. It is free hosting and PBX, the free version, and it is bundled hosting plus PBX, the SMB version. It is available globally. Why 3CX free and SMB? It is easy to set up. It is quick to set up. It is feature rich. It is easy licensing, and you can have up to 20 users. To be honest, I see it as an appetizer into the system, or it is really a customer which is pretty small and is happy with a basic setup. Yeah, it is still, in a way, it is limited on the functionality and on what you actually can get compared with a pro or enterprise, but still it gives the customer some kind of a basic step into the big world of telecommunication or hosted PBXs. The 3CX free will always be free. It has an amount of up to 10 users. You can have one zip trunk, you can have one ring group, live chat is enabled, WhatsApp integration is enabled, and video conferencing is enabled. You will not have call queues, reporting, and all that stuff on 3CX free. SMB, you have up to 20 users from $175 per year. The correct pricing can be achieved or can be requested on our end from Breeze Connect. They can give you a quote. You can add DITs to it, you can add IVRs to it, you can add queues to it, and you can also add messaging to it. So you see that is additional to the free version, gives you a little bit more of functionality for call routing, and $175 per year. That's roughly like is that 15 to 20 US dollars per month. Yeah, of course that's not Australian dollars. There are then different pricings. The first created user is the owner. The extension length is preset to 5 digits, cannot be chosen. So we have to live with what we get offered from 3CX. You have to stick to the 3CX preferred zip trunk providers. Root access is not needed. 3CX manages this for you. Now, in this case, let's demo. I did a little bit of pre-recording work on that end here, and we quickly watch a video. Bear with me. So we log into our 3CX backend. So that's now our 3CX account on the login or customer.3cx.com. Everyone who has a 3CX account knows that. In the end, we go at the very top to add trial. We enter a username there. Then I can't use that email address since that is already given somewhere, so I have to use another email address. Stay in English there, the time zone. Again, I would like to have there Australia offered first, but it's that's a dream. You see, just like for example, Perth would be okay. Complain again because of the email address. We changed that quickly there. We then get offered the options that we can choose for trial. And in the top, we already see the license key popping up then there. .3.6 is set up. You saw that there was no fast forwarding, nothing. It's just that quick for the 3.6.3. 3.6 SMB is the same. We see that then afterwards. You copy your credentials. You remember your extension number. And you see at the further 0.1, the extension range is 209010 to 2929. We copy the password, and then we log in. Now we here have the QR code, which we could scan already with our mobile device if we would use that. And then we are literally in. We have the admin console. We have the opportunity down to install the apps. In the admin console, we can go to users. We can add further users. We can add zip trunks. We have the office hours, the call handling. And all that stuff, literally, already everything is set up. We go back to the portal. And then we can go into the systems and we see that it is up and literally running. Then we add a new trial version. We do the same game again with the username. And then in this case here, we use 3. We use again our country. Again, it would be nice if it populates automatically further down the time zone, especially now when we choose Australia, so Victoria. Yeah, unfortunately, we still have to scroll through the whole world to get literally to where we are. We go on next. And now we do a SMB Pro. And already this has been set up, so it's pretty fast. But again, we have to understand this is just a department that is set up in the 3CX system. So it's not literally creating a full PBX from scratch because the PBX actually is already running. Again, here we have the different apps we could install. Then under admin, we can add users, zip trunks, outbound rules. We can add office hours. We would have chat here. Literally the whole stuff that we already know from the 3CX free and SMB over the last 2 to 3 years. Okay, so that was the 3CX free and SMB. Are there any questions in that regard? This doesn't seem to be the case. In this case, we go ahead with hosted by 3CX. Hosted by 3CX is the best way to deploy a dedicated 3CX. Just that depends on the requirements of the customer. In which regard you require the amount of simultaneous calls on the free or on the SMB? If you could put that down into the questions, then I can both. Bear with me. I will have to test. I will have to check that with 3.6 directly. I'm pretty sure on the yeah, I just had 2 times now the question on the amount of simultaneous calls. I'm pretty sure on the SMB you are. We had that the other day. It's not based on simultaneous calls. That's it. I actually had that question like 2 weeks ago for the first time. And as I'm getting older, my CPU is not that well, anymore. No, it's just you have it not based on on SCs. You have it based on users. With the free and SMB. So 1 user, 1 call, 2 users, 2 calls, 3 users, 3 calls, 4 users, 4 calls, and so on. And then, of course, it depends on the SIP trunk that you have. If you have what the amount of external calls is that you have. So when you have, let's say, you have 20 users. You have 20 users on the SMB license, and you have the SIP trunk with 10 simultaneous calls. There are 10 people who can make outbound calls or receive inbound calls over the trunk. And then you still have 10 people that can call each other. Yeah, so 5 on 5, more or less, or what else ever. It's just coming down to the amount of users. It is not like with the dedicated or the hosted one here, that it is restricted to the amount of simultaneous calls. The only restriction that you have is what you have from the SIP trunk provider and the amount of users that you have. Alex, unfortunately not. And that's the biggest downside for me for the free and SMB. And I mentioned that already 2 years ago to 3.6 that they have to have an upgrade path. If a customer goes with a free and or SMB and then literally grows out of it and has to go to a dedicated, you can't have a backup because it's literally a whole system where that stuff is on. And when you take a backup, you take a backup of the whole PBX with all the other 100 or how many tenants. So you have no way on actually upgrade from a free or SMP directly to a dedicated or hosted. You would have to rebuild that system from scratch. Multi-location with different time zones. I will have to look into that. I have not played around in that depth with the SMB. I will note that down and give you an update then on that regarding the possibility on that. Bear with me for a second. I quickly copy that. It is a fair question in that regard, but then again, we have to see that the capability for these systems is not really meant to go that wide. Let me quickly do that. Then let me save that quickly. No, that should not be visible somewhere. They can also throw it in the chat if they want to have it. If they want to have it publicly, it's a form of privacy protection. If other people are asking questions, yeah, that's just how it is here. Okay, so The best way to deploy a dedicated, again, it comes down to what the customer needs and what you want. With hosted by 3CX, you have no access to the backend. You have no possibility to go into the to SSH into the backend. You can't do snapshots and all that stuff. You only have the front end, and it's still everything else is maintained by 3CX. It is quick configuration, that's true. Easy management, that's also in a way true. Fully supported, cost effective, and of great value. Where are we? Here. Where is hosted by 3CX available? North America, South America, Europe, Asia, and in Australasia. Available in 50 plus country. More info on 3CX.com, ordering, pricing, hosted info. I quickly have to give you an update. These pre-recordings, what I have done them now for this webinar and for all future at Leader. The second time within 11 months. I have done that for Atrox less than a year ago. I have done these recordings now again, and I have done these recordings, these pre-recordings prior for Alloy. So I'm at the moment from the pre-recording side, I'm a little bit over it. Anyway, we will. I hope I will not go have to change my job again in a couple of weeks. Hopefully not. But what I also used to do, and what I have to adjust, I just didn't have the time, especially now that I was a little bit laid off. I used to send out a PDF with all relevant links to get you started with a setup. So that PDF is more or less available also with all those links inside. However, it's not fully finalized yet, so I still have to adjust it, and I will send that out then afterwards to everyone who is literally attending that training. You can back up your hosted in. So we come to that in a couple of minutes. Yes. So you will receive a PDF with generally all those links that are lined out, like the one in yellow at the bottom here. That will come. It just will not be tomorrow or so, but it will come, and you will then literally have the like a list on relevant links from the main 3CX website. So the pricing is with 4 simultaneous calls, $150, which literally means it's $12.50 per month. With 8 simultaneous calls, it's $250, and of course, that's US dollars, that's not Australian dollars. And then you see the pricing for 16, 24, and so on. With 3CX hosted, 3CX takes care of the management of the operating system, security patches, version upgrades. They do nightly backups, keeping your 3CX PBX up to date, non-beta. Now, when you do 3CX hosted, you in the end are automatically updated to the latest version until as soon as a new version comes out. And that is then the thing what I told you at the very beginning. You are having no control in that regard if your customer has a fully functional system afterward. There are often devices that the customer has that are a little bit outdated, specific devices or what else ever, that might not work anymore after the update. That might require a check if it's working, if the update is applied and all that stuff. And if the stuff is done automatically, you have no guarantee of you have no guarantee if your customer's environment will be working after that upgrade. It's just how it is. It's yeah, telecommunication is a very, very specific industry, and it's not really the same as with IT. And also with IT, you have to be careful on what you update and what you can't. Darren, yes, if they add it to the questions section, it will be only viewable to me. Again, people can add their questions into the chat. Fine with me. It is just a privacy protection. That's coming down to everyone's thing themselves. MOAS, yeah, the pricing, I am not here to discuss about the pricing, unfortunately. It's also not part of my job. That is something you have to go to 3CX yourself. And yeah, I use the latest slides. That's how it is. Okay. Pricing is also available on the 3CX website if you want to get the latest pricing or contact us on that end. Things to know about hosted by 3CX. Migration to a 3CX hosted instance is possible and easy. Your backup must be less than 3 gig and contain a 3CX FQDN. Configure your phones behind the 3CX SBC. Stun is not possible when you use hosted by 3CX. SSH access is also not possible. We manage this for you. Back in my days at Alloy, I did a lunch and learn session about how to migrate between different 3CX operating systems and different deployment versions. If you look up the Alloy channel on YouTube, that video is still somewhere up there. There hasn't changed much in that regard from that perspective. That is, in a way, is still pretty much valid. Free SMB and hosted support. They use 3CX preferred and supported zip trunks. That ensures the quality of service, that gives better support and also better communication. There is a reason why they do that. Of course, they want to keep the that's interesting. I mean, I haven't set up the meeting in that regard. Let me quickly just raise your hand if you can see that quickly. Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. I can, so seems as I can paste it. I hope you guys could also paste there in the chat. Again, I don't know. I had yesterday, I think, a Yearling webinar, and not so sure. They also placed the questions. Look, I will see what we can do in the future with that chat opportunity. Again, I have not set that up. Again, I just started 8 weeks ago with Leader, and I'm still digging my head around. So from that perspective, later down the track, I'm 100% sure we will get that stuff sorted. If you have any questions, also feel free to send them to me. Um, and I will try to get back to you then as soon as possible, and also with a question that gives a response to what you asked. Back to the supported zip trunks. Again, imagine you have hundreds of zip trunks that you would have to, different zip trunk providers that you would have to support. It's just nearly impossible to guarantee um, support for that. And it's the same like when you look at Telstra or what else ever. They have big networks which they have to keep clean. So from that perspective, all these big deployments, they have to have restrictions in order to keep the systems going without much issues within them. There is 24/7 monitoring of the data centers, of the trunk availability, usage of system resources, and connectivity of SBC. Deployment is done via the 3CX portal. You saw that before with the SMB and the free. There will be support for that. There is also support on connectivity issues, 3CX FQDNs, 3CX SMTP service, 3CX video conferencing, and system crashes. There is also support regarding restoration to a previous restore point, patch management, termination requests, and operating system management. Why choose 3CX hosted solution? Self-hosting is pricier. Many resources are needed to maintain and support. Together, you and 3CX can beat the competition. Again, these points come down to what your requirements are and what your customer needs. If your customer wants to have full control, if your customer wants to have full control about his infrastructure and everything, of course, have it either in his private cloud, so Azure, Google Cloud, AWS or what else ever, or have it on-prem. Yeah. Me personally, I am coming from the old days. I'm so-called old school PBX telecommunications person, and I prefer to have the stuff on-prem. But again, yes, there's no call flow designer that will work with the 3CX hosted. That's just not going to work. Yeah. But you can have it self-hosted or on-prem, and there it will work then again. Easy and fast installation, competitively priced, fully supported by 3CX, featurist, high value, and scalable. Okay, so we come to the demo for the 3CX. Where is the folder here? To the 3CX hosted. Why do I see that now on this screen? One moment. On the wrong screen here. Again, we log into the 3CX, into our 3CX partner backend under customer.3cx, login.3cx, partner.3cx is all the same, and we choose a hosted install. We give it a host name. We are currently in the AI age, in the age of AI, and you see there always come these pop-ups up with the fill out information. It can be very useful, but it should not come up when you do a screen recording. It's so annoying. there again, yeah, AI should filter that out, but of course, AI is not that far yet where it actually can read your mind. You see here, we still get the opportunity to use version 18. That's solely because the version 20 has not ingrained all of the system features that are available with version 18. Again, that is literally your job as installers to be on top of what your customer needs and with which system you have to go. Yeah. At some point, you have to go with version 20, but you still have, I think it's until the end of the year, where you can go with version 18. And it is your liability towards your customer to actually set him up with a system that works. And we see here, it's, of course, I did shrink the speed a little bit here, did fast forward, but it's literally not taking that much time. I think around 4 minutes something we are finished with setting up the system. Done. Yeah. So again, we copy the login. Again, QR code for mobile devices and all that stuff. We see the backend literally looks nearly similar like with the Free and SMB. We have the Android app. Here, we have a little bit more of information on there because it's literally a full system and not a shrinked down system on like the other one, yeah? We have their automatic backup is enabled, chat log is disabled. We have you see the static IP and all that stuff. The first user has been created already. We can add trunk gateways. We have outbound rules. We can set departments, office hours, call handling, reports, event logs. We have the recording section there. We have our team here, chat, meet, calls, literally all the settings what we have already on the current web client when we use version 18. It's just looking a little bit different. So at the moment it is more or less like a mixture between a SMB and a version 18 web client backend. So it's of course everyone has to get used to that new backend, to that new interface, but I'm pretty sure with a little bit of playing around and all that. So this is also why you have NFR keys, two NFR keys to use. One is actually for your own PBX and one is actually to set up a demo system so that you can play around with that stuff in order to get know the setup, how it looks like, and all that kind of things. Yeah. So from that perspective, it's not really that much new. There are differences, but it's not such a drastic change on if you would have come from the version 18 backend without using the web client prior straight away to the version 20. That would be a harsh change. To be honest, I also like the version 18 backend much more. It looked more calm. It didn't look so. When you look at the dashboard, it looks a little bit nervous. It looks a little bit scattered. Again, but we will get used to it. We will get used to it. Any questions on the 3CX hosted? Again, you saw you can deploy it with an existing backup. The backup has to be less than 3 gigs of size. If you have a backup that has more than 3 gigs of size, you cannot deploy it that way to 3CX hosted. There are ways how you can do that then further down the track, which means you most likely have to create with that key first a clean install and then literally bind in a remote location where you have the original backup sitting, and then you can apply the backup. Or when it's call recording, you just create, for example, an offsite archive. So, for example, in Google Cloud or somewhere, SFTP, where you have all the recordings stored. So in order to literally reduce the size of the backup, and then you can install the system applying the backup, and you will also have your recordings then in the offsite archive again once the system is deployed. You cannot go from free or SMB, sorry. You cannot go from free or SMB to any dedicated form. It's not possible.